Hello, everyone. No, look at me not starting with my traditional opening. I decided to just go ahead and not really use that one. That was mostly for Twitch with that opening I was using. But yeah, now that I figured out how to set the timer schedule on the YouTube studio side, I decided to just go ahead and drop that. Yeah, and we are officially live. How it is going, everybody? Hope everyone's having a lovely Saturday. I just picked up my medication. Woo! Look at me being an adult. Uh, got me a little something to eat. Got me some cabbage and some little lasagna just before we actually started streaming. Uh, wanted to do a little quick segment today, and then I'll probably jump onto. I'm thinking Sonic Riders because I really do want to get on that again and get those unlockables. Hey, how's it going, Jay? How it is going, my guy? Over there, things going all right today? But yeah. So today's topic is Smash JT. Now, a lot of you probably know who this guy is. He's clearly part of the anti woke group. Uh, what position that I kind of see him in? He's kind of a, from what I know, I will kind of put him like centrist leaning right. Kind of. I could be wrong with that. Jesus Christ. uh, basically, this is about Smash because I watched this video. And I have to disagree with Smash JT's take on this. So the synopsis on this video is basically this is Smash JT covering a video. I'm starting to notice a lot of these anti-woke channels are doing this. So funny how people like to claim, the left's also causing racial tensions, so are the motherfuckers. Um, the video is about some white guy in a Lyft. This is the driver. He ends up picking up a black passenger. Black passenger ends up trying to get him to turn around to get something back at the house and then go back to her destination. He's saying you can't do that. And he's saying it politely. He's saying, well, you can't necessarily do that because if you do, I have to cancel the ride. And then you have to actually make another ride, which is valid because, that's Lyft's terms of service. And, she starts getting a little irate and she calls him white. This is some white shit, you know particularly aiming at the behavior of the corporation as opposed to him. But he took it personally because these type of people right here like to stoke up racial tensions as much as the left does. And he responds by calling her a nigger. And you have people in the comment section sympathizing under the idea of white collective guilt of siding with this person, thinking just because he said the word nigger, that means he is based and he's correct. I would have to disagree with this because this is clearly a socialist take on this video. And the reason why I say it's a socialist take is because Smash JT and a lot of people in his comment section are clearly obfuscating and leaving out the idea of private property rights. Now, the reason why I side with the woman on this one, despite the fact that, the word nigger doesn't really mean much to me, the reason why I side with her is because she is the customer. The driver, in terms of agreeing with Lyft services terms of service, has agreed that he can use their platform so long as he manages his conduct. And I have the terms of service right here. Boop. Sure you can see it too. It says right here, Lyft is not responsible for the conduct, whether online or offline, of any user of the Lyft platform, Lyft services, third-party services, or rideshare services. You are solely responsible for your interactions with other users. We do not procure insurance for, nor we are responsible for personal belongings left in the car by drivers or riders. By using Lyft platform, Lyft services, third-party services, and participating in the rideshare services, you agree to accept such risks and agree that Lyft is not responsible for the acts or omissions of users on the Lyft platform, Lyft services, third-party services, or participating in rideshare services. Do I consider myself a centrist? Uh, yes, but no. I consider myself more anarcho-capitalist, which is more of a focus on private property rights and freedom under private property rights. You should probably look into that a bit more. Um, that's why I value myself as more like anarcho-capitalist. So I focus more on like private property rights, which is why I say Smash JT's take is kind of retarded on this one because he never really brings up private property rights. Because if you take his evaluation of this whole situation into consideration, which is basically have sympathy for the white guy and then call the woman a nigger because she's acting like a nigger, so therefore freedom of speech. I have to disagree with that because this is clearly him being anti-consumer. Keep in mind, this is the guy that's saying Nintendo is screwing us. Now all of a sudden, because my white guy cannot say my nigger, all of a sudden, well, I'm not pro-consumer anymore. All of a sudden, I'm about the white collective. We have to be able to say the N-word because if they're gonna act like that, we have to call them that. Okay, that's fine. Smash, I think it's fair to mean to say you and your audience are collectively white niggers. And it's fair for me to actually say that. I'm about to prove to you why it is fair for me to call you all white niggers. Because you're clearly obfuscating private property rights. Despite the fact that you're under the guise of a pro-consumer channel, here you are not siding with the customer, right? Who is clearly offended by the representative of Lyft. That she does not tolerate the word nigger. Therefore, she is under her rights as a consumer to file a complaint against the driver. But it seems like customer rights only exist until white people get inflicted. All of a sudden, white people don't get. All of a sudden, like customer rights don't really mean anything at that point. Okay, I was just curious because you have criticized both sides. Yeah, I criticize both sides because both sides have a tendency of violating private property rights, which is why I keep saying like a lot of these fuckers keep pushing like socialist takes, Marxist takes, communist takes, takes that are seize the means of production, we must band together as the proletariat, the working class, in order for us to go against the rich bourgeois, the Jews, the whites, in order for us to redistribute their wealth amongst the proletariat to where we can usher ourselves into a stateless, cashless society of a white utopia or a black utopia. They're both the same thing. That's why I keep criticizing both sides, because they're using the same Marxist takes. They're using the same socialist takes of not of exclude. Oh, hold on. Yeah, that's the and I'm back. Yeah, that's the basis of my argument is private property rights because it seems like both sides have this tendency of eroding private property rights, which clearly under the basis of like Marxism belief, private property is something that they want to abolish, which strangely enough, Smash JT is clearly not taking into account not only consumer rights, but also private property rights. And he's catering to the white collective that their freedom of speech, of being able to say nigger, is far more important than consumer rights and and private property rights. So we're going to go over this video real quick.
This is a Lyft driver, which, by the way, this resonates with me and anyone in the chat who's ever been in Uber.
And this is the part that says here's the bias, because JT also used to be a Lyft driver. So right now there's already a bias in this video. There is a worker bias, and then there's also a racial bias.
Or Lyft driver or taxi driver or anyone.
Actually, let me slow that down a bit. He kind of does speak kind of fast. So we'll do 1.25. Yeah.
Who's worked in customer service fields. This will resonate with you. This will hit hard.
I need to run back home.
It only resonate with you if you're actually just a white collectivist, then you're not really like focused on private property.
Circle around
in consumer rights.
Yeah, the rights. I'm already too far away.
So what's happening right now? If anyone's ever done Uber and Lyft, you will know exactly what I'm about to say, because my God, when I ever got a customer like this, because this has happened before, never been this bad. We'll get into it. But when you start your ride, that is like the fare. And it's like you pick someone up and you drive them to a destination and you drop them off. You can't drive like halfway. Say some place is like 20 minutes away. You can't drive 10 minutes towards a place and then they're like, oh, I forgot something at my house. I need to go back. It's like, I can't do that. Like, that will be your ride. I can't go all the way back to your house, have you get it. Then you get in the.
Okay, that's fair. That's a fair critique. But there's also another thing that JT seems to be doesn't seem to understand. So there's two types of workers, right? There's the ones that go by the rules. We call those sticks, and we call them sticks up the ass type of workers. And then they're the ones that are cool to be around. So there's the sticks in the ass and the cool people to be around. Typically, if you're going to be a stick in the ass and you want to uphold the rights and the policies of the company that you're working for, expect this type of response. Because generally, no one likes to work with a stick in the mud, you know? No one likes a tight ass. But I had a friend when I was working at my last job. He also used to do Uber drives too. And what will happen is they'll be like, take me from this destination to another destination. And then as they're going, they'll be like, hey, can you drop me off over here? Or, hey, I left something back here. If you do this, I'll give you an extra, 20 on the side. There are some people that'll do that. And he used to get that a lot. He's like, if you're cool with the writer's cool with you. But if you're going to be sticking the ass where he's like, well, company policy says the subsection A, paragraph B, yada, 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 yada. Okay. You're clearly going to irritate somebody. So let's just go ahead and get that out of the way. Either or, expect that type of reaction when you're going to be the stick in the mud, rules by the book kind of guy. That's just expected. Because when I was working at another job, this was like back in like 2013. I used to have 5 supervisors, and one of them was his name was Richard. It was an Asian guy. Nobody liked Richard, including the people that knew how to work on the computers, because he was a stick in the mud. The second you drop below your quota, he's already down on your ass. I could work with Richard because I'm really good at what I do. So I'm really good at that. So I never really had a problem with Richard. As a matter of fact, I didn't have that much of a problem with Richard that when I'm talking with him, and I've already done like hit my quota, like say for instance, they need 12 laptops in under 8 hours. I'll give them 14 in like 6. And I'll just be up there just burning 2 hours of my time talking to him about Marvel movies and all this stuff and Marvel movies, video games and stuff like that. Like we were both nerds. And he's like, you do your job well. I don't got a fucking problem with you. I don't have a problem with you. I don't have a problem with you either. Until there were certain times where he'll be like, hey, you're a really good worker. Can I get you to squeeze out like 2 or 3 more? I know I asked for 12, but can you give me like 16 or 18? And I'm like, no. I was like, no, because like I know I'm good at stuff, but at the same time, I gotta set myself a barrier because I don't like the idea of feeling like I'm being used and I'm not being compensated for my skills. Granted, we had like a technician bonus, so like every month we'll like get our stats and statistics to see like who has the best statistics amongst all the technicians, and I was consistent first place all the time. There was like 2 other technicians that I've honestly like go back and forth with after that, but I was really consistent with getting first place. And that reward was like $150, I believe, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong on that. So my checks were fat, like hella fat. But yeah, that's that whole thing. Is like expect if you're gonna be a stick in the mud, the only people that you can be that chill with are other sticks in the mud. So that's one part where I honestly disagree with Smash on this take.
The car again and we start driving again, that we don't get compensated for that. So this guy's trying to explain this to the passenger and he's being very polite to her about it. He's like, no, I can't, we're already too far. He's like, I can bring you back there, but you're going to need to request another ride because we're already too far in the ride, which is, again, how it works. And the way that these companies barely pay you for Lyft and Uber, like it is slave labor. It is legit, like bottom of the barrel. You're spending more on gas.
Okay, so here's the question I have to ask you, Smash. If this is slave labor, why are you upholding the work policies of your corporation that is your master? Why would you side with the slave who is clearly being an Uncle Tom of the white community? A pet nigger of the white community. Well, because Master said I ain't allowed to do that because it says in subsections A, paragraph B. You ain't allowed to do that now. You see what I mean about this? At this point, this whole video is just literally projection. If you are working as a slave for a corporation, why not work with the customer who can clearly pay you a lot more if you are cool with the customer? I know, shocker, right? It brings shocker, guys. And yet I'm supposed to sympathize with the white trash right here who is sympathizing with the other white trash because he's working as a slave for the corporate master? No, JT. If I cannot tolerate pet niggers who are black, why would I sit here and tolerate pet niggers who are white? Stop the jive dancing, my guy.
Gas or repairs of your car than what you're actually making, especially after paying taxes on what you earn for tips and money with all of it. It's a brutal, brutal way to live. And I had to do it for about 1.5 years of my life when I was out of work and I needed to contribute to the family while I was trying to start a YouTube channel.
And I can sympathize with that. All right. I can sympathize with that. But again, the question here we have to ask here is, why is the pro-consumer guy bucking and jiving for the other white person who is upholding the policies and the laws of his master corporate overlord while working slave labor. See, that's the problem. See, that's a legitimate problem with white people. You get fucked and you still think you have to operate within the system. Why? See, learn something from your fellow black people, such as me. You want more money? Work with the people that clearly have more money. Work with the person that's like, hey, can you stop at this extra spot right here? I know this is against the laws and everything, against your company's policies and stuff like that, but I got an extra 15 for you. I can slide this 20 in your pocket, you know? Don't be a nigger, be a nigga. You know what I mean? This is me trying to help you. Since we all slaves in this system and everything, you know, brother trying to help a brother out. And I do consider Smash JT as a brother. I just disagree with this take right here. I'm not like trying to take away his credibility or anything like that. I'm just saying this is just one thing that I honestly disagree with.
I was like, this is something that works around the schedule for that. So, anyways, she's asking him to turn around here, and he's like, I can't, we're too far away. See, listen to where it goes here.
So I can loop back around, but they have to reorder it.
You'll have to reorder it.
Then I'm gonna be paying the whole $13 again.
Then I'll be paying the whole $13 again. Like, hold on. This guy's like, he put his hand up, like, you can tell what he's thinking. He's like, and that's my problem. How? He's like, this is how it works.
I mean, it is your problem considering you're a fucking slave to Lyft driver services. You're working slave labor. These are slave wages. Like, working for Lyft is not a way to, like, get by. So instead of upholding and I'll say it again, instead of upholding corporate masters' laws and policies, why not just haggle with the customer? It's like, hey, I know this is against policy and everything, but like, hey, you know, help a brother out. Slide me an extra 10, I'll take you back. Slide me an extra 15, I'll take you back. That's too high? Lower it. All right. I can do 10, 9, 950. That's good. 950. It's greater than 350. Let's go 950. This is the problem that I have with white people, especially these types. They don't know how to haggle. You got to stick up your ass. You're upholding corporate policy to a corporation that you don't agree with. And then you're upset that the customer doesn't also agree with those policies as well. But you're working under slave wages. Who's the real nigger here, Smash? It's clearly not the woman who's black. It's him. He's the real nigger in this situation. Because let's be honest, I've met a lot of black people in corporations where when they understand the rules and policies don't make any fucking sense, they don't uphold them, motherfucker. They circumvent that shit. They go around it. They go, hey, yeah, they're fucking us, so let's fuck them back. Like, this is the most retarded. This feels like a socialist take. This feels like us, the proletariat of the white collective, must band together because this white person had his freedom of speech taken away from him because he can't say the word nigger in his car, despite the fact that he's actually working as a representative for Lyft, whose private rights supersede his ability of freedom of speech. And we'll get into the whole idea of freedom of speech because keep this question in mind and pin it in your mind. Where does your freedom of speech is upheld? Where is it upheld? Is it upheld in the Constitution? Is it upheld in private property rights? Is it upheld because my freedom? Ask yourself that question. Where does your freedom of speech actually have the ability to freely exercise? Is the question you have to ask yourself.
You ordered a car. I came and picked you up. I drove 10 minutes away, and you're telling me to turn around and go back to your house. So this is how it works. And he's just like, oh, Jesse, he's definitely not a simp. You'll see where this goes. $13 says Max K. What a effing cheapskate. Max.
No, I'm pretty sure he's a simp. I'm pretty sure if it was a blonde hair, blue-eyed woman in the back with big ass titties and cleavage, he'll definitely be simping.
I'll tell you, man. Driving people, you'll meet some very generous.
Because let's be honest, I'm pretty sure. I don't want to say that. I'm pretty sure a guy has a girlfriend. He don't look too happy.
People, and you'll meet some people that will argue over 28 cents. It's like people are all over the map when it comes to money for this stuff.
Let me know you'd like me to do. You want me to drop you off?
Go, drop me off because that's stupid. I'm not about to pay a whole nother.
That may be true, but not a lot of people are like that. Like, this is why I can tell, like, Smash JT is that type of person that, like, when he's working under conditions that he doesn't agree with, he just sucks it up and takes it. Like, he's that type of person that's like, I don't like the working conditions that I am, but I have to deal with it. White people. Not even just white people. People in general. I need you to listen to me. Listen well. Work with your customer base who has the money to give you a lot more than what your corporate bourgeois masters are giving you as you are fucking yourself and having your masters fuck you after you got through fucking yourself. Work with the people. Work. Because the more you keep doing this, the more you just keep fucking yourself.
$15, $20, $13.
You want me to drop you back home or not?
So he's saying, what do
Because clearly this woman doesn't have that kind of money. So this is one of those things where it's like, all right, if you ain't got the extra money, I'm willing to work with you, but if you ain't got the extra money, it's either I take you to your destination or you get out. That's it. That's it.
you want me to do? You want me to drop you off? He's talking about your final destination, or do you want me to turn around, loop around, and go back to your house? Because we're halfway to the destination. So he's asking her, you want me to continue this or go back? And she says, I want you to drop me off, which I take as, okay, you want me to take you to the final destination, but then he wants to clarify it with her, like, drop you off at home or drop you off at the final destination?
I'm telling you what your options are.
I'll just cancel the ride.
I'll just cancel the ride. While she's in the car, she's going to just cancel the ride, which I believe if you do that while you're driving, at least when I was doing it, it would still charge you. It might be like a portion of the fee. It might.
So he'll still get paid. He still gets paid, but in terms of, well, you working for slave wages, this is literally the equivalent of restaurant workers requiring, demanding tips in order for them to have a living wage. If I don't sympathize with those motherfuckers, what makes you think I'm going to sympathize with this? And clearly, Smash JT doesn't sympathize with the tipping culture, right? Until my freedom of speech is somehow violated, which, again, pop quiz. Remember that question I said earlier? Private property rights allows you to be able to exercise your freedom of speech. Want to say nigger? Say it. You can say it in your car. You can say it in your house. You can say it with people who are like-minded to you. Hell, you could even say it around me. I'm not even going to get offended. But the second you leave your private property rights and you are in the vicinity of either public property or somebody else's private property that you do not own, or you are working as a representative of some private corporation as you represent them and their services, that's it, buddy. Your freedom of speech stops right there. It stops right there. Your freedom of speech stops right there. Your freedom of speech don't continue to go on and on and on and on. And with that kind of argument, you might as well just go to Africa and be like, well, I have freedom of speech, guys, so I can say the word nigger. See how well that works. He reminds me, people with this type of sentiment remind me of that one video. It's a short of a white Karen who whips out herself, don't know why. She whips out her cell phone and she starts recording like a black family out in their driveway chopping wood. And the guy's like, hey, put your phone away. And she's like, I am American. I am exercising my freedom of speech. My freedom of speech. I'm like, you're in a foreign country, lady. Your freedom of speech stopped the second you left the country. You're in a foreign country. You abide by their fucking laws. And the bitch got slapped. And rightfully so.
Might be the whole fee. But Dementiaville, you just wait for where this goes.
Thank you.
You can hear the ghetto. Actually, the ghetto is going to come from him. If you really think about it, because who's the person that said nigger first in this fucking video? Exactly.
I've never been through this, but that white shit. So please, okay?
Are we serious? What is this white fragility smash? That's enough to piss you off? And don't do that cuck shit where it's like, well, if someone said this is that black shit. I don't do that cuckery. I don't do that cuckery where if it's the other shoe fits, therefore this happens, or if it was the other way around, this wouldn't even. No. Stop cucking yourself. The second you start doing it is the second you start cucking yourself. And I'm not saying this is predominantly around the right wing, where they constantly, and I mean constantly, do this. Well, if it was the other way around, they would have got away. Of course, dumbass. They don't play fair. So why even do the comparison? This is like going against fucking Skeletor. You know the motherfucker's evil. And then he does something rotten. It's like, well, we would have done that. We would have, because you're supposed to be civil. They're supposed to be evil. No shit, Sherlock.
And this guy, I mean, he's just trying to do his job. He's just driving this person like, come on, lady. Like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do here.
I understand that, but again, if you're going to be a stick in the mud, expect stick in the mud consequences. No one likes stick in the mud. No one likes that tight ass. And clearly this guy has a tight ass.
Okay.
So she says that, and I'm sorry, when someone opens the door to it's going to start going down that road, to me that is okay, this is the direction the conversation's going to go. She started it. Like, this is how a fight works. She just started right there, and he's like, okay, this is how this is going to go.
Oh wait, I'm going to let it play.
Nothing to do with race, but
nothing to do with race, but I'm not going to repeat this part.
You're going to act like it and be.
I'll be one. Thank you.
She says, I'll be one. He goes, all right, thank you.
Fuck out of my car.
I will.
Get the fuck out of my car.
Okay, first of all, if you have to say it has nothing to do with race, you are saying it does have something to do with race. Like, I'm sorry. Like, clearly you brought up the word nigger because she said white shit. But it's like, okay, it has something to do with race. Even you're saying it. Okay, we're going down that road. Fair enough. Well, JT, someone has to be the adult in this room. And I'm willing to spank you. I'm willing to spank him. And I'm willing to spank her. despite the fact that she's actually right in terms of consumer base. But I'm spanking her simply because she started, right? Because in order for you to solve this type of race war, both sides have to have their assholes gaping. And I'm the type of person that's willing to spread your cheeks, spread his cheeks, and definitely spread hers. And I'm not doing it because I hate you. I'm not doing it because I hate her. I'm doing it because both of you need to lose. And that's the only way we're going to get out of this.
So you can see here that this situation escalated quite quickly, but it was just a verbal interaction. But she opened the door to it, turning it into a race conversation when he's just letting her know what the rules are when you drive for Uber and Lyft.
That's still not justified. Because, like I said earlier, this man right here, the white nigger, agreed to terms of service. Lyft is not responsible for the conduct, whether online or offline, of any user of the Lyft platform, Lyft services, third-party services, or ride-share services. You would think the pro-consumer guy would at least read the terms of service before opening his mouth. No, he's as big as a white nigger as this guy is. And no, Smash, if you want to say it, by all means, say it. I'm not going to be offended. As a matter of fact, if you even say it, I'll even defend you on my behalf. I may not be that big of a channel, but I'm not that big of a fucking hypocrite. I'm not that type of person that's going to sit here and be like, oh, I can say the word. Like, I'm not going to pull that, what's that motherfucker's name? Lamont? From that interview with Piers Morgan and that one girl with the whole Shiloh Hendrix controversy. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, you see the word, you ain't gonna sit here and call me a nigger, despite the fact that I'm literally saying the word nigger, and I don't want you to say it because when you say it, I feel 400 years of pain and strife. But when I say it, it's perfectly fine, you know, not hating myself or anything. Because let's be honest, it's racial self-hatred at this point. And don't sit there and laugh. I don't hate myself for being white. I mean, yeah, I had to do Lyft service for, you know, a year and a half, and I didn't really like the terms of service, and I was paid like a slave, and I literally had no choice. But I don't hate myself for being white.
And I see the chat here. People are like, yeah, she earned that. I'll allow it. She started it. I'm not even mad. So that video would be enough to just talk about and be like, oh, that's wild. That's wild. What would I tell you if after this situation happened, this lady that left the car decided to contact Lyft and report him for the situation?
And under consumer rights, she has the right to do it. Because Lyft's terms of service, especially if the company is owned by someone who does not tolerate racial slurs, has the right to fire his white nigger ass off of the payroll. He has the right. They have the right to fire this fucker. So you need to get your priorities straight here, bro, because you're mixing your emotions of white collectivism in white fragility. And this is a case of white fragility, by the way. Mixed in with my freedom of speech because I can't say words without being fired. No, you can. It's just for some reason you like to invade people's private property and their ownership, and you think you can supersede the owner and say whatever the hell you want. You can't, bro. You can't. Clearly, this is not a case of a violation of freedom of speech. It's not. And any person who is trying to dress it that way is giving off a socialist take. Because clearly, his take advocates and favors for the abolition of private property because he's not considering the idea of companies' private property rights. And he's not even taking consideration of the private right of the car. Let's say, for instance, he's just doing this himself, right? Now, instead of doing Uber, he's doing it more like community based. Where, I'm pretty sure there's a good number of like senior citizens in this guy's fucking neighborhood, or a good number of people who don't have a car, where he can offer his services and upcharge a little bit. And guess what? That would mean since he owns the car and he is providing a service under his car, which is it officially his, even if he's still paying off the car note, still his. He now still has the right to say nigger in that car. Why? He's providing the service. He owns the service. And he's being paid by you to take him to take you where you need to go. In those circumstances, by all means, my brother, say nigger. Say it. Say it and get all of that angst out of it. But I find it kind of funny that the pro-consumer guy who's wearing the Nintendo hat that is clearly like against Nintendo and saying like Nintendo is clearly being anti-consumer, I find it funny that in terms of this interaction, he's being anti-consumer. And that's all it takes to get people like this to flip.
And Lyft automatically, instantly revoked his ability to ever drive and work for them again. Instantly. And I can tell you, not that it ever happened to me, but from personal experience, working as a Lyft and Uber driver for a while, I heard stories about customers, if they ever just want to be a complete bitch and ruin your life, they can make up a story about how bad or you harass them, or they could have a mental illness. It doesn't matter. If they contact Uber and Lyft and say that you could have a perfect 5-star rating forever, you could be driving for them for 10 years. If one person ever calls and says, oh, you made them feel uncomfortable in the car, they revoke your license.
Yes. Because think of it in terms of ownership of a private multi-billion-dollar company, dipshit. Which one would you value? The person you're paying pennies on the dollar? Or a class action lawsuit that costs you millions upon millions of dollars? Which one is more important? Ask yourself this. Ask yourself. Which one's more important? The ability to pay a jackass pennies of the dollar to be able to say nigger? Or being sued upon millions of dollars for saying the word nigger? Jesus Christ, Smash would make a horrible business CEO. Like, Jesus Christ. He's the type of person they'll be like, I'll allow it, even if I lose a large lump sum of my revenue to the point to where I would have to start cutting costs around my company in order for it to survive. Because let me tell you about my position, right? Because I come from like Fabian and Liberty. Our position is, I would rather it a private owner, if they don't like black people, I want them to actually put up a sign that says no black people, only white people only. And I'm perfectly fine with that. And the reason why I'm fine with that is I don't want to be pending my money or depending on a service on a group of people who have this type of mindset on their mind when they're dealing with someone like me. Despite the fact I'm not the type of person that they get pissed off at when they watch these videos of black people acting out. I don't want to give my money to people like this. Because clearly he does not value consumer rights, because the second the colors if the white person is being violated in terms of my freedom of speech, all of a sudden pro consumer rights don't really mean shit anymore. And he's willing to throw that away in order for him to cater to the white collective. And I am perfectly fine with the idea of white owners and black owners putting up black only signs and white only signs. And the reason why I say that is because not only would it honestly solve the race tensions, these companies won't go any further than that. Because most people are genuinely good. And clearly, any person who is not white is not going to go into a company or a restaurant or a service knowing damn well because their skin color doesn't match theirs. Somehow they're going to receive their product or service without it being tampered. Or the price somehow escalates simply because their skin color doesn't match. I am perfectly fine with that because, one, businesses like that don't expand any further. They don't. Because clearly, what have we been doing for the past 10 fucking years? Arguing that DEI is racist. It is white supremacy on its head. It is literally whites on top, minorities on bottom, flip it on its head. Now it's minorities on top, whites on the bottom. Well, white straight men on the bottom. Same thing. Now, if you take that and you flip it on its feet, it's white men on top, everybody else on the bottom. Now, what is that? It's white supremacy. So if you're in the event of trying to appropriate DEI so you can flip it on its head, so you can do the exact same thing, it is fair to call people white supremacists. Because that is what DEI is. And I'm not saying Smash is trying to appropriate. I'm not saying that. I'm saying people, especially in the comment section, like you read these comments, like it really kind of comes off like, man, I am just ready to hang a motherfucker, you know? Like it kind of does kind of come off like that. I'm not saying Smash wants to do that, but I am saying, like, I don't know, posting videos like this is kind of contributing to the racial tensions.
Driving with them instantly. It's insanity how it works, how it operates, and how they go about things. So this guy just got his.
No, it's not insanity, Smash. It's called private property right. You know that thing that you've been advocating, you know, you own it, you know, pro consumer. You know, what's this whole Nintendo thing you've been doing this entire time? You know, I'm just saying.
Job taken away from him for trying to follow the rules and then conversing and engaging.
Naughty, naughty, white nigger. That's a naughty, naughty rule there, buddy. See, now you're being a nigger. He's just trying to follow the rules, guy. If he said he can't do certain things, and then when he violates the terms of service where his conduct isn't necessarily being in line in terms of service, all of a sudden it's a no-no because white people have their freedom of speech taken away and they can't say the word nigger, while also violating consumer rights and private property rights. Ain't it a shame, guys? Ain't it a shame that we can't uphold this type of socialist take of fucking abolishing private property rights and consumer rights when we have the right to call a person a nigger simply because we own the company and we feel a certain way that if a person acts a certain way, we can call him that? Ain't it just ooh, steam out the ears.
Engaging in a conversation with someone who started going down a road and clearly was perfectly fine with the conversation because she was saying, yep, you can call me that. Like, whoa.
I mean, she wasn't really being real about that. She was kind of like, that was more of a, yeah, you can call me that because I can get you fired for what the fuck you said. Jesus Christ, like what is happening with the anti-woke group? Like, for crying out loud, V is spurring out because people keep saying, do you disavow siding with grunts? Do you disavow? And then you got this dipshit I don't get it. I don't get it. Maybe if you actually had more of a libertarian perspective, an anarcho-capitalist perspective, maybe, just maybe, your life would be a lot more better than what it is. Okay?
Sergeant Sabian says it's why I only ever do food delivery. I've heard a lot of people say like food delivery is the way to go because first off, being
No, it's not. Because you're not even going to get any tips. How many fucking videos, how many short videos you see of like Uber Eats people like dropping off food and they get like they get like what, $5 or $10 and they don't even get any tip. Well, I guess you kind of make up the difference in terms of how many like deliveries you make, but I'll let them speak on it just to see.
an Uber and Lyft driver, you put yourself in so much danger every single day because you never know who you're picking up. You don't know if they're having a bad day, if they're a serial killer, if they're crazy, if they want to claim that you did something to them. People are nuts. And these Uber and Lyft drivers do not get compensated enough for how hard they work and how hard they drive. Like,
And I agree with that. Despite the fact that I called this guy a white nigger, I agree with that. Not because of his race, but because the way he acts. And I do want to work with this guy, right? I do want to make sure that, hey, you know, he has some type of skill that the market says we need someone like you, my guy, that is actually worth this much, you know? I want to help people like this. I actually do. But then the question I have to ask you, JT, what are you offering to this man, to this young lad? What are you offering to where he can support himself while also maintaining his dignity as a man? Not a white, not an Aryan, a man. What are you providing to him? Because if you want to help someone like this, you have to provide them with a skill that the market actually deems valuable. Now, considering AI is running people out their fucking jobs, you know, good luck with that. But you know, we still got some jobs out there that are quite suitable. The problem is like a lot of these jobs that, especially even high labor, like a person who, what was it? I forgot the name of the occupation. It's the job where you scale those giant fans that run the electricity, and you do the maintenance on those things, and it is very dangerous work. And you know how much money people make in that field, knowing damn well if they slip up, like that's it. $50,000. That is criminal. Where you are working, and we clearly know what type of people work in that motherfucker, like white people. But that is a skill where I'm like, we need to band together as a group and say, if you're gonna put our life in danger for this shit, that shit needs to at least be $150,000 a year. At the very least. Hell, if not 200,000. Because if you're gonna be out there working in sleet, and you gotta be out there in regardless of what weather it is, it can be storming, snowing, extreme heat. It don't fucking matter. You gotta be up there maintaining that damn fan, that damn turbine. And that's the thing you people honestly need. And when I say you people, I mean you socialists on the left and right. And this is a very socialist take, JT. You have to admit that. You're not really upholding private property rights. You're not really upholding consumer rights. And then when your race gets inflicted and you have to cater to your audience, you're willing to throw out consumer rights and you're willing to throw out private property rights to cater to my race. Which is kind of pathetic, by the way.
I would have drives where I'd be driving from when my wife got home from work, which was around like 8:30 p.m. at night. back when we had the kids that were younger, so someone had to be watching the kids at all times, type thing. And I would tag out. I'd give her a kiss, I'd give her a hug, and I'd head to the car, and I would start driving all night. And I'd sleep a little bit, and I'd wake up, and she'd go to work, and we'd do it all over again the next day. Like it was a struggle session to make our life get through a tough time.
He said the word. He said struggle session, guys. He said struggle session. Why do I honestly feel like this is a socialist take? Interesting. Interesting. He said the word of Mao Zedong, of a class struggle session. I guess this is the part JT comes out with his rendition of me struggle, mein Struggle.
And
I'm just joking, by the way. I'm not saying definitively you're a Nazi, JT. Like I want to make this abundantly clear. Like, despite the fact that I've said, like, I've been jokingly calling you like a nigger and socialist and all this other fucking shit, I want you to understand, deep down after all those words that I fucking said, I honestly do want to solve this economical strife that we're all suffering. I actually do. But you gotta get rid of this socialist take. That shit gotta go out the door, my guy. All the driver had to do was ask for one. Exactly! Exactly! This is the problem that I have with white people. They're so they're so tight ass. I mean, clearly she didn't have the money. Well, she probably didn't have the money. But at the same time, it's like, work with them. Haggle. Like, all right, you want me to do this? $5 extra. $5, $10 extra. You ain't got the money? Give me that pussy. Let me hit it from behind. Let me hit it from the back. You don't want to offer that? All right. You got the grass? I know you smoke. Come on. You got something to make me go back to that house. I want it. What you got? Cash, grass, or ass? This is how you can tell. This is why I honestly do value white people that talk like that. Where it's like, oh, you want me to do something? You want me to do this? What you got? Cash, grass, or ass? Them my people. Not this socialist bullshit. Oh, I have to abide to what the company says, despite the fact the company treats me like a slave with slave wages and they don't pay me enough. I still gotta uphold company policy. What kind of fucking pet nigger shit is this? JT, in my community, we would call you a pet nigger if you was black. Just saying. This does effectively make you a pet nigger. I hope you understand that. And I'm not saying that in terms of like an offensive sort of way. And I hope no one in your fucking audience is gonna go out the way to report my fucking stream for racial insensitivity as you've been sitting here bitching and complaining about being able to say the word nigger. Again, I'm perfectly fine with it. So long as there's no intent of like serious bodily harm behind the message, I'm perfectly fine with it. But yeah, that's all you have to do. Like, see, and this is what I'm talking about. This whole class struggle. No, not class struggle. This is what I'm talking about. This whole race struggle bullshit. Here you have a man sitting right here at the bottom of the screen. This man with the toy hat siding with the corporation. Well, actually, he's saying that he's not siding with the corporation, but in actuality, he is like actually siding with the corporation. Because it's like, why would you sit there and coach for this man saying like, oh, you know, he's just following the rules, guys. He's just being a nice civil white person while being fucked in the ass by the corporation. But he's a nice white person. This is what I'm talking about. This is the thing that has us fighting each other. Meanwhile, at the exact same time, the corporation gets away with it all. Because at the end of the day, JT, what is it that your video accomplishes? Does it actually solve the problem? of how these corporations are constantly fucking us? Or does it incentivize you and your audience to appropriate DEI, not to get rid of it, to appropriate it and to flip it back on its feet? Which would equivocally be white supremacy. I hope you understand that. And I hope your audience understands that. But I'm pretty sure they understand that and don't give two shits and solid fuck because of power and Karl Marx.
The compensation for driving all night, I might make, after taxes, gas, wear and tear on the car, I might make $150 cash. Maybe.
And that's criminal.
Maybe. For a whole night of eight hours of driving. Like, sure, it might say like, oh, you made $400. It's like, yep, how much you paying in gas? How much you paying in tax out of that? And then you cut down everything out of it. You got to wear and tear on your car. You got to pay for all the repairs on everything. The tires need to be repaired. Everything. Like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. But he's just following the rules, guys. He's a civil white person following the rules.
For 8 to 10 hours at a time. It was brutal. It was brutal. So this guy, like I said, just doing his job and straight up gets fired. So then we have this.
Which is perfectly fine because, again, consumer rights.
And I think this is very interesting. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is going to be a situation that major channels are going to start picking up on, because this is another one of those situations where, yep, there's a give and go. I have not gifted or donated to this yet, but I am considering, because I just found out about this like an hour ago. And I was like, oh, I want.
I hope you don't, JT, because if you do, this makes you the biggest nigger than that woman. I hope you understand that. Do you want another example of DEI for white people? I mean, I know Shiloh Hendrix is, the biggest example of a white nigger, but you want to make this motherfucker a white nigger too? While saying white people have the abilities to do anything that they want. Yet at the same time, the only way you motherfuckers can make money is doing shit like this. Really? Really? This is how you make money? This is what the white race can fucking do? Holy shit. You guys are a bunch of white niggers.
I'll talk about this on the channel, but I'll share it in the chat. And this is a give and go that he is running right now. And we're going to read through this because I thought that was pretty interesting. Right now, he has a goal of $7,000. And this is from yesterday. He's already raised almost $7,000. And I have a feeling this is going to, if this gets like national news, this is going to go gangbusters.
Why would this gang national news, but not the Shiloh Hendrix one, which is like close to $1 million last I checked? It was like $700,000. And somehow that's not national news. Like, I hope you guys understand, like, this kind of shit is just gonna backfire on the next elections. Like, if you don't think the Democrats are gonna be blasting this kind of shit like 24/7, like, don't be surprised. I don't want to hear a single motherfucker talking about their election was rigged at this point. I honestly don't.
Help me replace my lost income. I am a part-time Lyft driver. I do this on the side to bring in extra money.
You don't need. So he's not a full-time. He's a part-timer. He's the income is just extra income. What? This is professional this is literally professional. This is victimhood. This is professional victimhood. You have money, and then you lost your ability to make extra money. Now here you are putting up a GoFundMe to make up the extra money when you could have just, oh gee, I don't know, did Uber? You could have done Uber? You could have done Uber Eats? You could have done any other service out there that requires you to get extra money. This is some white nigger shit. Oh my God.
On May 11th, 2025, I gave a ride to a passenger. Unfortunately, she forgot something at her house and demanded I return so she could retrieve it. Lyft drivers aren't compensated for that. So rather than canceling the ride on her, I offered her the alternative option of taking her back home and ending the ride there, which
Or you could have just haggled with her and be like, okay, you want me to take her back? Extra $5, extra $10. Don't have the money? Well, I'm gonna cancel it and then just drop you off right here. Boom.
by the way, I don't
Why do I feel like he planned this? Because this man is not struggling. He's not. He's making extra income. He just needs extra money. This man is not facing foreclosure as far as I'm concerned.
don't think he even has to do that. I don't know how it works now with it, but he was going over the top to be kind with her. Be like, look, I can drive you back to the house. That'd be the full ride. And she wasn't having it. She could then order another one. Rather than being grateful for that courtesy, she flipped out and began to complain about how much money it would cost her to do that, which was, I believe, $13. She then called me a racial slur, white shit.
How is white shit a racial slur? I swear, these people all up in their fucking field. I thought the blacks on the left was some sensitive ass niggers. Nah, y'all equally the same. Look at it. I thought Lamont was a nigger. No. He's as big as a nigger as Lamont.
Completely unprompted. I was not going to allow myself to be on the receiving end of racial verbal abuse. So I stood up for myself and called her what she was.
She called me what I was. Right, and I don't like being called that. Despite the fact that I'm mostly online talking about it's okay to be white, but at the same time, I don't like being referred to as the same thing. Oh my god. Why are people referring to me as the thing that I am? Oh my god. I want to be like you guys. Which is why I start getting on my knees and sucking you off for money because I feel racially offended and abused by the system. It's the same thing. They're both niggers.
And oh, by the way, could you imagine if this roles were reversed? If this was a black driver and a white passenger, how Lyft would be handling it, by the way. I think we all know it would be handled a lot differently. Let's be real about the two-tiered justice system.
How would it be handled? So the customer called the driver a nigger. That doesn't make any sense. JT. Okay, this is clearly a socialist take. And that's why I said any person that does that, well, imagine if it was the other way around, this would have happened. No. If the customer called the black driver a nigger, the company would have just took your fucking money and said, tough shit. Funny how that works, right? Either way around, it's still pro-consumer. It's still pro-private property right. But for some reason, JT wants to take this socialist route of anti-private property and anti-consumer rights because my white feelings, my white collective is under mind struggle. And we need to band together as a proletariat of the working class of the white collective in order to uphold free speech over private property rights and consumer rights. Jesus Christ. JT, you need to read some Murray Rothbard, man. Murray Rothbard. You need to read some Murray Rothbard because holy fucking shit. I swear to God, people's idea of like philosophy, and this is how you actually solve the problem. People just need to read a lot of philosophy. But it seems like everyone's philosophy is built off the back of some retard with a camera and a keyboard.
With racial inequality the world is actually living in right now. Rather than Lyft banning the passenger.
Racial inequality? My guy, she can't even afford $13, and here you are over here like, I just need the extra income. This is some white nigger shit.
From the platform I was permanently deactivated for discriminatory behavior. Now I'm left without a substantial side stream of income. Initially, I declined to set up a gift.
No, it wasn't no discriminatory behavior because you offer a service. You got fired because of your conduct, buddy. There's a service right here. Lyft is not responsible for the conduct, whether online or offline, of any user of the Lyft platform, Lyft services, third-party services, or rideshare services. He didn't get fired for discriminatory behavior. Granted, that's probably the excuse they used to actually get him out, but he mostly got fired because of conduct.
Give, send, go, because I know how hard people work for their money, and without any adverse consequences at the time, I felt it was wrong to ask for money. Sadly, that didn't last even 24 hours. I'm humbly asking those who are willing to help replace a year's worth of income from Lyft, which for me is around $7,000. Thank you in advance for your support. So this, let's see, some of these, keep your head up, $5. Look at these people just dropping $5, $5, $20.
Hold on, let's see. You shouldn't lose out simply defending yourself on tribal behavior. Have it back on your feet. In no time, love from Ireland.
$10.
Never back down. As a man of color. Okay, clearly that person's a pet nigger. Like, that's a black pet nigger right here. As a man of color, I support you standing up to entitled dumb bimbos. I hope you keep this in mind, buddy. That also implies to you too. And it probably won't even be anything behavioral related. It could just be the simple fact that you're black. I want you to understand what type of people you're siding with here. Jesus bless you, and he will look after you and your family for. Wow, that is some coonery.
As a man of color, I support you for standing up to entitled dumb bimbos.
And how much money actually you want to bet? That's actually just the white person.
Jesus bless you, and he will look after you.
It's more likely just the white person.
So, yeah, this guy, it's Avi Rashlin. He got completely boned by the system, and I am
guys. He got owned by the system for pro-consumer rights. Oh my god. These pesky consumer rights. We need to take that away from these niggers. Oh my god. I mean, I'm the pro-consumer guy and I'm fighting for your rights in terms of ownership and private property rights and everything. But when it comes to these niggers, oh my god, we need to take that shit away from them ASAP.
extremely frustrated, we'll just say, for how this was handled by Lyft. And it really does need some community support. So I stand behind this situation. I do.
You stand behind DEI for right wingers. I'm sorry, any person that stands behind this bullshit is clearly a white nigger. This just does not make any sense. What makes you think you're a lot better than the other people that do this? You're both niggers. Like, I just don't get it. Oh, the other side do it, so I'm going to do it too. Okay, so let's say, for instance, the other side is in the child marriage. Are you going to copy that? Oh, the other side is having sex with little Susie. I might as well have sex with Susie too, because if they're going to go around here and start having sex with minors, I might as well just join the party because all these people are having sex with minors. You might as well just say it. Especially considering your race is dying. Gonna need to boost up that population somehow.
FaceB says, I feel bad for the guy. I do too. I do too. Like, here's the thing. If you've never worked in the service industry, if you've never driven for Uber and Lyft, you may initially hear this guy and be like, oh, that he was out of line with that. He shouldn't have said those things.
No. That is a fallacy, JT. Oh, you have never lived my experience as a Uber driver, so therefore you cannot comprehend. This is the same fucking excuse that the black people on the left use. You do not understand my lived experience, so therefore you cannot critique on it. JT, the remedy where you can actually maintain your dignity as a man is upholding private property rights. That's the only way. This socialist take, and it is a socialist take. You can disagree with me as much as you want. Well, I got the white guy over here talking about Marxism. I don't care. This is a literal socialist take, where it is clearly going against the thing that you have been for the past, what, 4 or so fucking years of pro-consumer. Now you're being anti-consumer. Simply because the skin color doesn't match your preference. This is kind of pathetic. I'm not gonna
Is
lie.
that the other thing? You might feel that way. If you're driving for 8 to 10 hours and you know you're making like $2 on this ride, they're paying $13 because that's, oh, by the way, that's like what you make on the ride. If they're paying 13, you're probably making somewhere between $2.50 and $4.80 on a $13 ride. Like that's how it works. They take all the money. You don't get that. That goes to them. That goes to Lyft. That goes to Uber. You barely get anything from what they pay. It's ridiculous. So yeah, I will leave that there, and I hope that this just goes absolutely bonkers. I would love to see this go to 6 figures or beyond, because that would be really sending a message to the situation. Exactly, Asian Swordmaster says he's not paid to take shit from people. Exactly. Jeremy Webb says no one likes racism, but it's not a one-way street. Exactly. I feel like
Okay, so then you're saying you are a racist. This is such a horrible take. Like, oh god, the other side do it, so therefore we should do it too. Okay, so if the other side is having sex with children, you should do it too. If the other side is murdering and raping, you should do it too. What kind of argument is this? Oh, the other side is being degenerate. I might as well be degenerate too.
like these companies are trying to be like, oh no, it's okay if they say racial things to you, but if
White shit is not a racial slur. You are pathetic. I'd understand if it was cracker. I'd even understand it was male monkey, despite the fact that one didn't really take off. But white shit? The literal word that you are? White? Well, JT, if you don't want to be referred to as white shit, maybe you should start being white shit. You ever thought about that? And to the driver, if you want to stop being white shit, how about you stop being white shit? But for the sake of equality and freedom of speech, if you don't want me to be a white nigger, stop acting like a white nigger. Simple as that. Now, am I completely siding with her? I'm not completely siding with her. I'm agreeing with her in terms of consumer rights, because as a customer, she does have protections. Now, is she wrong for referring to this man as white shit? Yes, she is wrong for that. But again, like, 2 wrongs don't make a right. The only reason why I'm siding with her is pro-consumer rights. She didn't like the ride. She felt like he went overboard, despite the fact that she did escalate it. But he didn't de-escalate it. So, he lost his job. And that's fair. And to be honest, it's not like this motherfucker is struggling. He just needed extra money, so he's not struggling. He's not even struggling, and he's getting more money than you. That's the funny part.
really sending a message to the situation.
This is
Okay,
not
like,
sending a
no,
message.
that's not how these jobs work. That you cannot.
Hold on, wait.
I feel like these companies are trying to be like, oh no, it's okay if they say racial things to you, but if you ever respond with racial things, you get fired. It's like, no, that's not how these jobs work. That you cannot implement
White shit is not a racial slur. How much of a vagina do you have, Jay?
that kind of rule system. You need to hold the customers to the same standards that you're holding your workers to in a customer service job where you're driving people.
No. Well, actually know and agree. I agree to that to an extent. Which, to be honest, if that was the case, right? And actually, I do agree with that. I do agree with that. If that is the case, why didn't the white nigger just kick her out? Instead of just going, you know what? I might as well go ahead and throw a backhand too. Why not just kick her out? That's all you got to do. If that's all he did, he would have been in the right in terms of private property and consumer rights. And in terms of his rights as a worker for Lyft. If the customer is doing something that you don't agree with, you have a right to kick them out. He did not exercise his rights. He exercised his racial rights. Which is, if you're going to call me something that I would like to consider a racial slur, when it's not, you have to be really a victim. You got to have more ashier knees than the black people on the left to actually consider white shit as a slur. What level of history do you have with that word, JT? What is the history? How long of slavery did you endure in order for you to compensate from that slur?
That it's a very intimate environment, one-on-one. It doesn't work like other businesses do. Exactly, face piece. Customer service in general is a tough area to work. It is.
Yes, it is a tough area to work because, again, you represent the customer. You represent the customer, you dumbass. So if the customer gives your corporation that you are working for money, you represent them. And you service them. If you don't like it, get the fuck out. For a person who has been repairing laptops for about 12 years, and I have worked closely with customers in that long-term span. Do they have the right to cuss you out? No. They don't. But they can. Just like how you think you have a right to call somebody a nigger. So it's a two-way street there, JT. It's a two-way street. Except I would actually side with her because, again, customer rights, consumer rights. You work on behalf of me, right? As a customer representative. I am paying your boss to give you a job to sit on your ass as a customer representative, to address my concerns with your boss's policies. That is your fucking job. If you can't handle it, get the fuck out. When I worked at my last job, my supervisor, his name was Robert. He was a really chubby, short Mexican guy. Really loved him. Really great guy. We talked a lot of shit. And, you know, we talked a lot about all this political correctness and all this other shit. Like when I first worked there, he was kind of like a stick in the mud, you know, like by the books kind of guy, but he saw a lot of potential in me. Gave me a chance. Boom. Ran the whole thing by myself. And we're talking a lot about the political correctness and all that stuff. And we said the same. We was in there saying the word nigger and everything else. And he Mexican. I was a little too white, you know. And we were shooting the shit, you know. But the thing that me and him both understood is, if you're gonna talk like that, have a fucking spine. Have a fucking spine, JT. If you're going to talk like that, talk back. But don't bitch out and then start some GoFundMe I need more money because the extra money I had is lost. So I'm facing main struggle. I'm facing oppression. I'm facing foreclosure, and the motherfucker's probably ain't facing anything. He just realized, hey, these dumbass white niggers are willing to give me money for just simply saying nigger, so why not? Just saying. Just saying. This is a horrible fucking take. Irregardless of the fact that it has 354 fucking likes, this is a horrible take.
And that's why my heart goes out to people working in the service industry, because I've done it. And yeah, I know. I'm like, man, I was not cut out for it.
No. See, he clearly said it himself. He's not cut out for it. You're not sympathizing with them because it's employee abuse. You're sympathizing with them because he's white. That's just a shield.
Not cut out for it. It was brutal. I agree, just in time. That's a good point too. I'm glad you said that. Just in time says using the N-word wouldn't have been my choice, but I get it. That's where I am too. I wouldn't.
You wouldn't use it, but you get it. Do you? I don't think you both get it at this point. Because again, consumer rights. Now, again, was it wrong for her to say white shit? Yeah, it was. I wouldn't consider it a racial slur, but at that point, he was in his rights to just kick her out. But he had to take it a step further. And again, two wrongs don't make a right. Someone has to be the teacher in the classroom to smack you both in your fucking hands. And go, shut up, shut up. You're both wrong. If you don't like the idea of being a nigger, both of you stop being a nigger. And when I say nigger, I mean the original definition of stupid ass motherfucker. Okay? So, for the love of God, don't none of you motherfuckers be in the fucking bottom of my fucking video clicking racial hate, racial hate, racial hate. If I can't say it, you can't say it either. Despite the fact what you were saying was actually true. And it does make us look as big as hypocritical as Karl Marx. Racial hate, racial hate.
Wouldn't have said it, but I get it. Definitely would have called her ghetto. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, call her ghetto. Call her ghetto. Oh, call her brokey. She couldn't even afford $13. But again, white people. Again. This was the most hypocritical Karl Marx socialist take I have ever fucking heard. Next to being a socialist libertarian. A person who's for the free market, but the free market needs to be controlled. At that point, you're not a libertarian, you're a socialist. So clearly this guy is not pro-consumer because, the second the consumer has the wrong skin color that he doesn't agree with, all of a sudden that consumer does not have any rights anymore. And anything that she says that he deems unfavorable, even if it's not a racial slur, is somehow a racial slur, which allows him the ability to say the word nigger for some reason. No, it doesn't. Again, if this was his own, clearly that's his car, right? If it was serving his community and he was running a business within his community where he could actually upcharge a lot more than what Lyft has, then he would have every right to say nigger. And then I'd be like, okay, just don't use the service. And if you keep using the service, that just makes you the pet nigger. Because what do you call a black person that's dependent on a white person's services, but the white person clearly doesn't want them there? A pet nigger. Now, what do you call a white person who works for a corporation that pays him slave wages and puts up with all the shit despite the fact he doesn't need to put up with all the shit. A pet nigger. You're both pet niggers. Unequivocally, you're both pet niggers. And I hope you all understand that. Because there's another thing I also looked up. Let's say, for instance, because let's go back to what I said about, allowing white people to be like, whites only. Right. I am perfectly fine with that because, like, look at Lyft's customer base is it's diverse. It's 47% in terms of minorities. It could be a lot more than that, considering we're living in a time where a lot of people either don't want to be white, or a lot of people don't want to refer to themselves as white, and male or female. So, hey, the metadata is all over the fucking place at this point. I'm perfectly fine with it because businesses like that don't get any higher. And the reason why, like, DEI even got to that in the first place, it didn't build it from the ground up. DEI had to infiltrate multi-million-dollar, multi-billion-dollar corporations, strong-arming them into this position in order for them to be in that position in the first place. I am perfectly fine with a business saying whites only, because I'm not going to go there. And if that's what they want, that is perfectly fucking fine. Let them stagnate over there in that little corner, serving only their people and not getting that much money. But hey, at least it's a business where they can feel safe. They can have their little safe space over there. And the little pet black niggers over here can have their little safe space here too. And both niggers can be safe. I care about my niggers. Whether they're white or black, I care about my niggers. But this problem is not going to be rectified so long as we keep focusing on this race shit, where you only have the balls to go against what you think you can take on, but for some reason you don't have the balls to take on something that clearly is in the minority, but it has state power. As in, I'm saying you do not have the balls to tackle the state. You do not have the balls to tackle corrupt state power, the government. You don't have the balls to say we need to expunge everyone in that building of Congress. You don't have the balls to say that shit. So, yeah, that's my take, guys. What do you guys think? Am I right? Am I wrong? Like, don't get me wrong. And I'm saying it over and over and over because I want JT to understand here. I'm not referring to you all this because I hate you because you're white. I'm saying all this because of your focusing on the racial aspect, you keep siding with the corporation, despite the fact that you're saying that you're not siding with the corporation, and despite the fact that the corporation treats you like shit. Let's focus on the race issue, guys, because I want to be able to say nigger. Okay. Well, the corporation stays in power, still makes multi-billion dollars. And then what's your white ass going to do? And what the rest of your white trash is going to do? Continue working for slave wage, bitching and complaining that you don't make enough to meet ends meet. I don't know. You tell me. You tell me if I'm wrong. You tell me if I'm wrong. Ugh. What time is it? 3:24. I don't know. I'll probably end the stream. I was gonna play some Sonic Riders, but I don't know. I'm hungry. There's some food in the room, in the kitchen, so I may actually just sign out and eat. I think 1 hour and 35 minutes is pretty good. So I appreciate you guys coming in. Ah, crap! Wrong one. There we go. There we go. There we go. I appreciate you guys coming in. Like the video. Dislike the video. When it's over, leave your comment at the bottom. Tell me what you honestly think of what my take. You know, tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me I'm right. Well, ask me. Well, give examples why I'm wrong, and give examples why I'm right. You know, because the more we keep focusing on this race shit, the only people that's going to win is the corporations. I don't know if JT actually understands that, but yeah, that's what he's actually doing. He can say, "Well, that's not what I'm doing. You know, just the video, and people want me to talk about it." You know? Yeah, I understand that, but at the same time, you got to think a little bit more outside the box, there, buddy. Because at the end of the day, the corporation wins. You bitch and complain that you can't say the word nigger, and the corporation still makes more and more money. And as they make more and more money, they can keep, you know, shortchanging your dumbass and shortchanging our dumbass. Either way, we're both niggers in this fucking in this fucking system. So you might as well fucking suck it up and realize you need us and we need you. Because the only way these corporations fucking feel it is we beat their ass. And it ain't gonna change so long as you keep doing the exact same thing that happened at Wall Street, right? All manners of people from all walks of life band together on Wall Street. This was like back in like 2019, I believe. Band together on Wall Street before they were getting bailed out by the government. You know how all that shit broke up? You want to know how all those billionaires and millionaires were able to save their asses? They sent a couple of people down there to talk about race and intersectionality. And guess what? It saved the millionaires. It saved the billionaires. It saved Wall Street from having their ass caved in. And at the end of the day, nothing happened. And we got white niggers like this who don't seem to understand, even if you can find some little nugget to justify what the fuck you feel, you're still a white nigger to the corporation. And you need to understand that. Take care. Be safe. I love you, JT. You may not like what I say, but I love you. And y'all have a great day.